Welcome to Doug in Exile. We've got a ton of Kari Lake stuff, but here she is magically brought up on the Tim Pool podcast. Who's Tim Pool? He wears a little beanie like a fisherman.
You know who would do exactly what I just said?
Kari Lake.
Yep.
Ding! They're talking about if she was governor, would she extradite him from her state and send him to Manhattan to be arrested, which is what Ron DeSantis is going to be questioned to do during the Trump arrest. Will he extradite Trump? I don't believe he will.
Kari Lake,
100%.
She totally 100%.
100%.
And you knew it. You said it right away. No questions. If Kari Lake, if this was happening in her state, she would say, you will have to physically remove me, and I will stand in your way with my own body to stop you from making this arrest. She would do it.
And even he sees what kind of a fighter Kari Lake is, and he's very impressed.
Yeah, when I was with her in Phoenix, I remember thinking, as I was talking to her, like, this lady is actual counterculture. You know, this mom in her nice dress, like, that's counterculture because she was badass. And you could tell everything she says, she means that stuff.
You spent a lot of time with her. Did you interview her?
No, it wasn't a lot of time, but I guess it was a few days of me in court with her. And then I interviewed her individually, elsewhere. And yeah, I thought she was incredible.
Here they're impressed with her media acumen, which I think any modern politician is going to have to be very good at. And she's overclocked. She's got the incredible gift of media presence.
She's one of the most interesting and most effective potential, governors out there when it comes to how she can handle the media. There's probably no one better than her.
I agree. And with everything that happened with the election.
Yeah, the problem is she's really good with media, but she's in Arizona, where being good with media doesn't necessarily help. She would be greatly benefited by a national stage.
After seeing everything that's happened so far, and this conversation we're having right now, I actually think if Donald Trump said she's going to be the VP, I'd say absolutely 100%.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
The norm would be that you don't pick her because she fits within Trump's footprint. But Trump's exactly the kind of candidate that would say, oh, screw the standard thinking on the subject. I'm going for Kari Lake. So it wouldn't surprise me either if he picked her.
Yeah.
And before I was worried, she worked in media. Then she ran for office for I think the first time, right?
I think so.
And then she doesn't get the office. So what's the political experience of doing it? Now, at this point, I'm kind of like, I don't care about political. I want the opposite of political experience. Yeah. I want the media experience,
for sure.
And I want the tenacity and the bravery.
This is true among populists, where bravery, tenacity, and media experience are better than political experience. In some ways, political experience is kind of a swampy thing. It's baggage. But here's Kari Lake over on Real America's Voice.
What has been the reaction to those polling numbers? Has anyone engaged on them to realize that there really is a crisis of confidence in Arizona?
Very few of the mainstream media touched that poll. Isn't that interesting? Because it didn't show what they've been lying. They've been lying to the people. And that poll basically exposed them for the lie.
Kari Lake is talking about a recent poll that Rasmussen did where a majority of Arizona voters, it was, I think, a sample set of 1,000 people, but a vast majority of them said that they thought there was a red wave.
Poll showed, John and Amanda, that there was indeed a red wave in Arizona, and a massive red wave. The poll showed they polled more than 1,000 Arizona voters who voted.
She's using her media experience to counter what the media said, which is that there was no red wave. She's saying there absolutely was a red wave. And if that's true, then the red wave will continue behind Trump.
So this lie, the fake news is telling that our America First policies are extreme. They aren't. They're actually common sense, and they resonate with independents. And guess what? They even resonate with a lot of Democrats as well. We want a huge number of Democrats as well. So people love America First policies because they know that that's what's needed here in Arizona, here in this country.
And I do believe that there is a national backlash against the mainstream, against the going thinking of all Republicans, which is that Trump is extreme, Marjorie Taylor Greene is extreme. I think when people sit down and actually listen to them, they find their policies pretty popular.
By the way, John, they pulled President Trump. He not only is kicking DeSantis in rear end in this poll, by double digits, he would also beat, in a head-to-head with Joe Biden, beat him, I think, by 11 points. Wow. I think he was above DeSantis by 20-plus points in this poll.
This is true from what I'm seeing. DeSantis is having a hard time breaking into the mainstream MAGA conservatives, he is getting the donor class. He's getting all the big money, big corporate, big mainstream donors. And Trump is getting the small nickel and dime, small average voter donations. It's starting to show up that way, which is always a good sign for a populist.
So it's not even close. DeSantis's numbers are falling, which is a really big message, I think, to him that he should remain the effective governor of Florida, where the people just reelected him.
I totally disagree with Kari Lake on this one. DeSantis has to run. And if Trump wins, I want him to beat DeSantis's daylights decisively. Or it'll just be seen as he's chicken, and that's why he wants DeSantis to sit out. I think there has to be a fight. And if Trump's going to win it, he has to beat him. If DeSantis is going to win it, he has to beat Trump. None of this take your turn stuff. That's not the language of elections.
And I think that's what, at the end of the day, he'll end up doing.
It's great to see her doing lots of media, showing up, being mentioned on Tim Pool. And of course, we're always going to mention her here on In Exile. Thanks for watching. This is Doug in Exile.